1075 The Game Podcasting is sponsored by Modern Exterminating, a family-oriented company. Professional, honest, and dependable pest control solutions. We're your one-stop shop for all pests.
What do you want Jeremiah Donati to say? Like, what does – I said he should say something, and then you kind of made the point, like, what do you want him to say? But kind of at this point, Tyler, like a loss, to me, it feels like every loss we're waiting the next day to see if there's a movement of the head coach.
Right. I think the only thing tomorrow can tell you is if they're truly checked out or not. Because if they go out there tomorrow, again, this is the team that you beat a couple weeks ago, and I get it, they were down a couple players, so that's not guaranteeing you're going to go out there and win tomorrow. But if LSU walks in here and beats you by 25 points, then I think we can officially say, okay, this team is just checked out for the rest of the year. And maybe at that point, you start talking about actually making the moves before the season ends. If you go out there and win tomorrow, you at least say, as Paris alluded to the other day, and same thing on Carolina Calls last night, like, hey, they at least refocused, went out there and beat a team that they were more comparable against on paper. So that's really, I feel like, all you can learn, if anything, tomorrow.
You brought up Nyck Harbor.
Yep.
And maybe I'm being a homer. Maybe I'm being biased. I feel like Nyck Harbor is something that I can count on for this football team as wide receiver number one next year. And I truthfully, Tyler, because I thought about this, I was driving down Forest Drive. I was looking for a fast food restaurant very quickly. Mm-hmm. And I was listening to you, and I thought about this. I was like, well, what can I count on with South Carolina football? Like, what do I know that I look at with South Carolina football next year? And I'm like, yes, all right, that will be that. And there was a few things. There's a few things I could get to. But I feel like Nyck Harbor developing under Mike Furry and being wide receiver number one is one of those things.
It should be, right? And I think last year being able to spend the entire offseason purely focused on football went a long way. And we didn't really mention it specifically, but like the explosive plays were there last year, which is something that we had kind of anticipated in the first couple of years. Like, hey, this is something that Hughes should be capable of. And there's a lot more nuance to the wide receiver position, a lot of reasons why it didn't happen, but we saw that become a bigger part of the offense last season. We expect that Kendall Briles should be able to do that even more effectively this upcoming year, as well as further development. Because again, we always go back to it. This is a guy that did not play the wide receiver position in high school. It was not natural to him. He was a defensive end. He was a tight end. So he had to learn a lot when he got to campus. And he spent the first 2 years doing half football and half track. So now he's focused solely in on football. We saw him take a big step forward last year. I don't know if he's going to go out in there and be 1,000-yard receiver this upcoming season, but I would be very shocked if Nyck Harbor is not your leading receiver overall, leader in receptions, leader in targets, all that kind of stuff. He should have wide receiver one on lock just for being in this system and being with Lenora Sellers the past couple years based on what we know about this team as of right now.